Right now, we have to set the Bryceometer. Now, if you're new here, usually it's a Monday, every single day after a Panthers game, we reset the Bryceometer. Bryceometer, it is a gauge that tells us how confident we are in Bryce Young. Right now, tilted a little to the wrong side, a little to the not great side. And unfortunately, for those of you that are watching on our WRALSportsFan.com video stream, you'll be able to watch this. I have to crank it back even further. There we go. We are now to, like, if you're looking at it like a gas gauge, we have like a third of a tank.
Yeah.
We have a third of a tank. It is squarely in the there's no way he's actually 5'10" slice of the pie.
Mm-hmm.
We'll post it on social media so you all can know where it stands. But this is for Bryce Young individually. And it's hard to judge Bryce Young individually amongst the entire offense, right? We just had the caller, Stephen Apex, say, we don't know what he is because the play calling has been so has had such a lack of creative spirit and flexibility and surprise. I agree with you. But guess what? We have the eye test, okay? We know what it looks like to have a good quarterback playing in a bad offense, right? We know what it looks like when Matt Stafford in his prime is on the Lions. We know what it looks like to have a good quarterback on a bad team. Bryce Young doesn't look like that right now, okay? He has to develop into it. Normally, a good quarterback on a bad team or a good quarterback with a bad play caller looks like they are just trying to minimize the mistakes, or once something bad happens, they're minimizing the damage. There are times when Bryce Young adds to the damage, right? Okay, it's a bad play call. Nobody's open. Offensive line breaks down. What does he do? Right? The good quarterbacks escape just long enough to throw it away, right? Find a completion for 2 yards to the back, right? Throw it somewhere where the offensive player might be able to make a wild and crazy SportsCenter top 10 catch, or if they don't, it's an incomplete. That's what a good quarterback does with a bad play. Bryce Young's been doing too much of, I'm going to force it in here, put it in harm's way, maybe a turnover-worthy play.
You kind of answered my question, but do you think he is trying to do too much? Maybe because he recognizes around him, there isn't a lot of great around me. I have to elevate all these guys. You think he's trying to putting too much pressure on himself, and that's the reason why we're getting this? Because I can see that happening.
Yes. I mean, the pressing, you have to ask the question. You have to wonder. Like for example, he holds onto the ball a little long, waiting for someone to get open. Somebody breaks through the offensive line, defensive player. He tries to outrun them rather than just burying it or throwing it away or running forward and getting a yard or two. He tries to outrun them long enough to keep his eyes downfield, and he ends up getting hit and fumbling. That's adding to. That's taking a small problem, making it a bigger problem, and taking a bad play call and making it a horrendous play. What's the motivate? Did he hold on to it too long because he's still getting used to not having Alabama wide receivers? And Alabama wide receivers, if you hold on long enough, someone's going to be open, right? They're always eventually going to get open when you're that much more talented than everyone else. Is he holding on to the football too long because he's pressing and he doesn't want to abort a play because I'm the number 1 overall pick and they're expecting big things from me, kind of like what Dennis said, and I'm going to press and force the issue? Is it simply he's not sure what he's seeing? Like, there's a lot of reasons it could be, but all I know is watching Bryce Young, if there's a bad play by one of his teammates, he's not necessarily minimizing the damage. Sometimes he adds to. And if there's a bad play call from the sideline, bad Frank Reich play call, if that happens, he's not minimizing the damage. He's not fixing it. He's sometimes adding to the damage, right? There's kind of, actually, I just stumbled in this, but I'm going to go, there's kind of 3 tiers of quarterbacks, right? There's the all-time greats, and guess what they do? They take mistakes by others and erase them, okay? Bad play call comes in from the sideline to Peyton Manning. He looks at the defense, goes, this is a bad play call. I'm not going to run this play. And he changes it to a good play call. That's erasing a mistake, right? Someone like Lamar Jackson, right? Drops back. None of his wide receivers get open. None of them can beat their individual matchups. That's a mistake by his teammates. Guess what he does? Tucks it, runs for 40 yards, scores a touchdown anyway. That's erasing a mistake, right? There are different kinds of great quarterbacks. They erase mistakes. Then there's kind of the solid starters, the veterans. What do? They minimize mistakes. Bad play call comes in from the sideline. What do? Recognize it's a bad play call in the middle of their drop, throw it away. And then there's the young quarterbacks that need to learn, the veteran bad quarterbacks who haven't learned, and guess what happens then? They drop back, it's a bad play call, receivers aren't open, they compound the mistake and make their own mistake on top of it. And that's where Bryce Young is right now, right? Twice last week, there was a bad play call. They called one of that little in-breaker. We used to call it a dagger on the back sideline, or on the backside, from an inside receiver. And guess what? They called it into a defense that Jesse Bates is baiting you to throw that play. He's set the trap. You called the perfect play to get trapped. Bryce Young walked right into that trap twice. Last night with the fumbles, right? Bad play call. No one's open. Lines breaking down. He compounds the issue by not protecting the football. That's where he's at right now. That's why I've moved the Bryceometer confidence level back in the other direction. Because he's compounding the issues right now. Here's Frank Reich, his coach, on if the offensive struggles are because of Bryce Young.
Yeah, and that's not for. I don't think that's Bryce. I mean, that's on me. That's on our team. So that's part of it. That's part of it. So I don't like it. Believe me, we want to give the fans wins and exciting brand of football. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're planning on doing. It's a process. We're 2 games into a 17-game season. Things haven't gone the way we wanted, but nobody's throwing in the towel. And it's a long year. We got another game coming up here Sunday. It'll be up on us real quick. So we got to learn from this one and get better for next week.
Unfortunately, Frank isn't really the one that gets to decide if it's on Bryce. It's already decided. It's always on the quarterback. Did you see Kirk Cousins last week? It was the Thursday night game, so it was last week. Justin Jefferson catches a pass from Kirk Cousins. He goes to dive for the sideline, which, by the way, was already a first down. If he gets pushed out of bounds, they have 1st and goal on the 1. But he's reaching for the pylon, fumbles it out of the back of the end zone. They asked Kirk Cousins, about that play. He said, well, I should have put it more out in front of him so he could have caught it on the run and he would have made it into the end zone without having to dive. So somehow he put Justin Jefferson's fumble after the catch on himself. Why? Because he's a quarterback that's been around the block a few times and he understands how this works. Why was the offensive line not protecting Bryce Young? Because of Bryce Young. That's just the way it is. It's always on the quarterback. The logic isn't always there. Justin Jefferson could have caught the ball, protected the ball, gone out at the 1. They would have had 1st and goal at the 1-yard line. Kirk Cousins said, it's my fault. Because that's what quarterbacks do. Frank Reich, you can say it's not all on Bryce Young. Doesn't really matter because it is. Because he's the quarterback. And that's how this works.